What's up, my dreamers? Listen, do I have a message for you guys today? So, first, the title to this message is, are you really ready for marriage? Like, let's sit down and talk about it. Like, because we see it a lot on social media. Like, I'm ready to be married. I'm ready for my husband to come. I'm ready for my wife to come. Like, but in the reality of the situation, there's people who's married and who was not even ready for marriage. Who's in marriage who's struggling, who's in marriage who's unhappy, who is in marriage who's regretting their decision. All because they didn't prepare before walking down that aisle, right? And so a lot of people think marriage is love. Like, like, I'm ready to get married because I'm ready to love somebody. Which that's a big part of marriage, right? And I'm not married. So, like, I can't sit up here and say what marriage is about. But what I've been learning and what God has been teaching me and showing me to get in position for marriage is that marriage requires more than just love. Like, walking down that aisle and saying I do just because you love somebody is not like the ultimate decision, right? Marriage is sacrifice. Like, marriage is sacrifice. Like, you have to sacrifice every day your daily self to make someone else's life easier. Okay, so when you decide to say I do, you're deciding that you're choosing that person and you're choosing to make sure that that person is a priority in your life, right? And so a lot of us desire the ideal of marriage, the wedding, the love, the partnership, the dates, the romantic nights, the calls, the texts, the flowers, all of those things. Let's start off where we left off. Something had happened to my phone, but we're about to get back on track. So listen, okay? So we left off on when the beginning is romantic and you got butterflies and all those things, right? But I want to ask you a question. What happens when that person is battling cancer or health problems, right? What happens when that person can't show up the way they showed up in the beginning of the relationship, right? What about if that person is in a financial place where they're struggling, so y'all can't go back on dates like how y'all was in the beginning? Like, those are the things that you got to think about, because life be lifing, right? Regardless of if you got married and you was happy in the beginning, life don't care about none of that. Life is like, listen, I got some trials and some tribulations for you. I got some battles. You got some things that you got to outgrow. You got some places that you ain't never seen before. And in order for you to get there, I got to purge some things out of you. And when God purges, you got to go through it, right? And so I just want to help my dreamers out, like, because this is what God has been working with me. Like, I'm not no expert on relationships. I'm not no expert on marriage. I'm not married. I'm preparing for marriage, but while I'm preparing, I'm learning, and then I'm sharing with you guys, right? And so one of the things that God has shown me was that maybe I'm not ready yet, right? Like, it takes a real mature adult to really sit back, and when something you fully desire, like you want it so bad, and you're like, this is what is my dream. I've been praying for it. Like, I've been praying for a wife, been praying for a husband, been praying for marriage, right? And then to know that you're not ready for it, it takes a real mature adult to be accountable, to know and say, you know what, God, this is what I desire. This is what I want. And I have faith that you're going to do it, but I'm not ready yet. Right? And there's a couple things that I need you to work in me and through me and for me before I go and accept a life with another person. That's selfish of me to go and say I do with another person, knowing that I got things that I got to work on from within, and that I'm not going to be able to be my best version for this person because I'm not even showing up being the best version for myself on a consistent basis, right? And so I just want you guys to know that I know that you desire marriage. I know that you're waiting and been praying on for your husband or wife. But let's take a step back for those. This is for those who need to hear this. Let's take a step back and let's be accountable for our actions, and let's analyze our situation. Allow God to show you some of the things that you need to heal from, some of the things that you need to overcome from before you go into your next season, which is marriage, right? Enjoy your single season. Enjoy being alone. Enjoy knowing that God has it under control and that you just have to do whatever God calls you to do in your single season, right? And your single season is a blessing too, because this is the time that you can get so close to the Most High. Like, I have been such in a great place with God. And let me correct this, okay? Everything has not been great, but me and God has been great, okay? Like, there has been ups and downs and struggles and pain and cries and tears. But through it all and through that whole process, me and God has been like this. This is the closest me and God has ever been since I've been single, right? My love for God has grew so much because of me just being alone and being able to think, being able to focus, be able to choose wisely without distractions, without thinking about another person and their needs and their wants. I've been able to really focus on my needs and my wants and what I need to do to get to the next level, right? And so there could be some insecurities that you're battling with. There could be some low self-esteem problems, some self-confidence that you got to work on. There could be some trauma that you got to overcome. There could be some pain that you haven't let go. There could be some forgiveness that you got to start forgiving and forgiving people. Whatever that may look like you, maybe you got to correct your finances, right? Maybe your finances is not in order. Maybe that you're broke. And if you're broke, you shouldn't be dating. And I don't mean like, oh, you have to be at a certain standpoint and financially to date. But if you're struggling financially, how selfish is that to go date and make somebody suffer with you because you don't have it financially, right? When you start growing and maturing and realizing what relationships is about, relationship is about giving, not taking. It's about giving. So you want to make sure that yours is in order. So that way, when you do decide to be with that next person, you're able to provide. You're able to give, right? And it doesn't have to be financial. You're able to provide love. You're able to provide grace, forgiveness, right? Without having a bitter heart. You're able to do all these things because you worked on you before you got with the next person. So I just want you to really sit back and ask yourself, are you ready for marriage? Marriage is not a game. I'm not married, never been married, but I have my mom married, my sister married. Like, I have all these individuals who are married around me, right? And I see some of their problems. I see some of the things that they gotta work through together. And it is not a game. Marriage is not a game. Like, it's about sacrifice. Every day you have to die to yourself. And if you're already at a low place and then you're getting in a relationship and then you're trying to die to yourself daily, you're going to be dead. Okay, not dead, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be depleted. You're going to be empty, right? So why not fill your cup up and overflow? So that way, when you do get in a relationship, you never go empty because you filled your cup up so good with the Most High that you're no longer looking for that person to fill you up. You go to God for fill-ups, right? You already disciplined. You're already equipped to know that this person can't make me happy. Only God. And whatever I'm lacking, I'm taking it to God instead of pouring out and dishing it all out on my partner, my spouse, right? So God has all designed us to be married, right? He designed us all. Well, I wouldn't say designed us to be married because there's some people who remain single and who are happy single, who's doing their thing single, right? But God designed two people. He designed male and female, and for they can come together and so they can to build, right? And they can multiply, right? And then they can come together and show each other how much they love each other and show sacrifice and be an example of Christ. Okay. So God did not make man to be alone, regardless if you get married or not. He did not make you to be alone. You can't build a business alone. You can't build an empire alone. You can't build a family alone. You can't do it alone. There's no way. You have to have others surrounded around you. Regardless if you get married or not, you have to have others surrounded around you. Okay. So don't be fearful that marriage may not happen for you, because if God put that desire in your heart and you know that that came from God, because you just can't shake it, you just can't remove it, you just can't let it go. You know that that desire was from the Most High, right? And so God is saying, I have the desire for you and I'm ready to bless you with it, but you need to prepare for it. God don't bless mess, okay? If this is what you want, show me this is what you want. Show me this is what you want. You feel me? Like, if this is what you want, show me. Prepare for it. Just like you prepare for that job. You creating your resume, you're looking over it, you're making sure you got the best resume as possible. You're preparing, you're applying for applications. All of those things, right? That's what God wants you to do for everything that you pray for. Regardless if you pray for marriage, if you pray for finances, even finances, prepare for your finances, right? You may only have $10 left after you pay all your bills, right? Or you might even have a negative count after you pay all your bills. But how are you handling your finances, right? What decisions are you making with your finances? What things that you need to change? What things you need to move? Ask God what you need to change in your financial area, right? So we just need to make sure that we're preparing for what we're praying for. So the question in the video today is, are you ready for marriage? See y'all later. God bless.